Hey everybody, it's BJ.
And Patrick.
And we're back talking all things real estate, and we're into the new year now.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody. If you haven't, please take a second, give us a like and a subscribe, and we're going to get right into it today. And we're going to look at something in Maclean's magazine that I read talking about the 10 housing predictions for 2025.
Super, because everybody's asking, what's going to happen with the market? This is great timing.
Yeah, so let's go. And so to start with, I find this one interesting, and I guess because it's a national magazine, they have to start with Toronto.
Because it's the center of the universe, yes.
Right. So number one is Toronto's condo market will plummet. I think we've been talking about that and why that's been happening. We talked about that last year already.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
Right. So
there's going to be really good opportunities in the. I think it's very much in the pre-construction market.
Yeah.
If they go into specifics or not.
Yeah.
There's plenty of affordable entry-level condos still in the GTA area.
Yeah. So here's what they've said is one of the reasons prices are going to keep declining is that the downward trend has spooked condo investors. And condo investors amount to 70% of the pre-sale purchases.
That makes sense, right?
And so these pre-construction people are saying, okay, no, we're not doing that. We don't.
Well, with interest rates being this isn't like a surprise, or you never heard of this, or you couldn't tell, high interest rates, can't get enough rent, and now we have immigration levels are going to be restricted.
Yeah.
So, who are we going to rent to?
Yeah.
So yeah. I could see how investors would be less optimistic about pre-construction condos,
Sure.
maybe.
And so they're saying,
and you have to put money down, and then wait for 2 years, 3 years, 7 years, 10 years.
Yeah.
So only so many people can actually do that.
So the one thing they are saying is this could, in the long run, lead to a condo shortage in Toronto.
Right, because we have a lack of construction starts, yes.
That's right. Because anything that starts is fine, but it's 5 years away once you start, right? Depending on the scope of the building.
And the community groups and the heritage groups
Right.
and the whatever else that's going to make it take longer.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Number two. Welcome to BC. BC will tax house flippers.
Yes, the Bring Cash province.
So I'm just going to read this right off of here because it's already happened. So bad news for West Coast real estate investors. On January 1, British Columbia will implement, so this, for those of you that are seeing this, we're past January 1, obviously, so this has been implemented. So on January 1, British Columbia will implement a flipping tax aimed at curbing short-term investments and boosting the province's minuscule vacancy rates. The first of its kind in Canada, the tax will apply to those selling property they've owned for less than 730 days, with some exceptions for circumstances like job relocations, deaths, divorces. Sellers who have owned their homes for 365 days or less will be taxed at 20% of income on the sale, with the rate gradually decreased to zero by the 2-year mark. The rule is in addition to federal flipping tax introduced in 2022, which makes the capital gains from the sale of a home taxable as a business income.
Yeah, CTV News reports BC man. This is even before all of this, right? Mm-hmm. BC man who flipped 14 homes in 4 years is fined $2 million for tax evasion. Yeah, well, you know what? We already have a capital gains tax. We already have corporate business tax. So, if you're doing this as your income, this is going to be the cost of doing business now.
Now it is in
right?
BC, yeah. So I think what that means is you're going to see investors going elsewhere. So
yeah.
All right. Number 3, interest rates will keep dropping. So the projection is the Bank of Canada is going to continue to lower rates, probably not as quickly now in the new year is what they're saying, as we've seen, in the half point drops that we've been seeing. But basically, and we know they've done a couple of things. They've extended the amortization on mortgages. They've
Which
allowed,
we used to have this before in the past, anyways.
Yeah, and they've allowed the secured mortgages, the insured mortgages, to go up to 1.5
million
million.
for
Yeah,
purchase. Yeah.
yeah. So
Because first-time home buyers, oh yeah, they totally. Let's put $125,000 down on a $1.5 million purchase.
right.
Yeah, who does that?
Yeah. Okay, number 4. This one I thought was really interesting. U.S. firms will pour billions into Canadian real estate.
Will they? Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
So here's
Oh yeah, there were no. Now we can have a scapegoat.
right.
Yeah.
Well, and here was the thing. We talked about this a long time ago, that if the interest rate that we have is too far away from the federal rate, the Federal Reserve in the U.S., our dollar would suffer.
And it is. Yep.
And so that's what's happening with our dollar, among other things, but that's one of the things that's happening. So here we go. What we call a runaway housing market, U.S. real estate firms call an opportunity. So,
Okay.
They see rents going up, they see population growth and opportunities, right? So, they're seeing the demand for purpose-built rentals. Okay, so here, let me just read this.
Yeah, we have government legislation pushing that. Yep.
Yeah.
Go for it.
So Blackstone, the largest private equity firm in the world, bought Canadian real estate housing owner Tricon for 3.5 billion US in May.
Billions.
Billion with a B. Meanwhile, tax-based developer Hines LLP is planning to invest up to $2 billion in land for large-scale 6 to 8 story apartment towers in cities like Toronto, Vancouver, Calgary, and Montreal, and is also interested in reviving projects that have been stalled for the past few years by high interest rates and construction costs. It's a good time to do business with Canada. The governing liberals cut the 5% tax on new rental builds and now offer cheaper financing to builders who will try to help dig us out of our own mess.
They're talking about GST. Yeah.
So, the interesting thing here is they're talking about, people could do it here. Canadians could do this if you made it reasonable for them to do it. It's like that. They said in here, it's good to do business in Canada. It's almost like saying, well, it's good to do business from outside of Canada in Canada, so that you can, you're not limited to everything else that you're limited to. If
Taking the angle from America to do business in Canada.
and that's what they're talking about here. Yeah. Okay, number 5.
Funny that they don't talk about, like, they're not buying single family dwellings.
Nope.
And like, who invests in, like, if it's BlackRock or whoever, doesn't matter, right? Like, how do you think these teachers' pensions are going to get paid for?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay, number 5. Labor shortages will cause construction delays. So they're talking about a decade. For the next decade, the challenge is going to be labor.
Well, the boomers are hanging up the tools, right? Mm-hmm. I don't remember the numbers right now, but it's like, it's a crazy amount of the boomer generation are retiring by the end of 2030.
Yeah, well, here, let me give you the number.
Yeah.
Between now and 2033, we will lose 263,000 construction workers to retirement.
Yep. Super. That's amazing. That's awesome.
So domestically, so here's what they're doing. This is where they're reaching outside of the country to try and bring skilled labor into the country, because domestically, young Canadians are also increasingly choosing white-collar careers over blue-collar ones.
Yep. We've been doing that for a long time now, right?
Sure. All of this will put the brakes on Canada's ambitious housing goal of building $3.9 million homes nationwide by 2031.
Yeah. That's a total fantasy.
That was a complete pipe dream from the start. We've said that. Okay, number 6.
That just screams of opportunity. For all the young people that are crying about, like, things are too expensive or whatever.
Yeah.
If you're not going to be a doctor, engineer, or something, get a trade.
100%.
Get a trade.
Absolutely. Okay, number 6. First Nations will be the big new developers. They have the land, and that's really what it comes down to.
Do they, though?
Well,
They have some.
yeah, let's talk about Vancouver. In the greater Vancouver area, they have lots of land.
They have the police station.
But the other thing is,
right? They have some acreages here and there. Yeah.
sure, but they also they can operate under different rules than everybody else.
Or none.
Right. Sure.
There's no community group holding development projects back.
Right, because they're self-governing.
There's
Right?
no heritage group.
Yeah, they're all self-governing, so they can do what they want.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And yeah.
So here's the one that
That's
they
going to be very
reference.
very complex.
Yeah, there's one in the Vancouver area with 11 skyscrapers and 6,000 residential units. And that's all been developed on land belonging to the Squamish Nation.
Well, very good.
So the first of 3 towers will be done in 2025, and then on from there. But makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Okay, number 7, more millennials and Gen Zs will buy homes.
Wow. What a prediction.
And they're just saying that based on the interest rates coming down, and that there are some studies done, some polls taken.
They're getting older. They're getting jobs. Wow.
Yeah. So here it is. Scotiabank poll: 26% of 18 to 34-year-olds own a home today, compared to 47% in 2021 and 35% that still live with their
Yeah,
families.
18 to 34-year-olds. Yeah, super.
Yeah. So, okay. Number 8. This one's interesting. A wave of mortgage default is coming. Now, this is a
Interesting.
prediction from Maclean's. Okay.
Yep.
So,
Oh yeah, the mortgage cliff. We've been waiting, holding our breath for it. Yeah.
right. Okay. In 2025, more than 1 million households will face mortgage renewals at elevated interest rates. The banks are ready for it and have already set aside more than $4.5 billion in provisions for credit losses. The fallout from broken mortgages isn't just bad news for homeowners, but for the economy at large. Canadian households are already among the most indebted in the world, and as defaults rise, banks may need to reserve more capital, triggering a credit crunch and making borrowing harder.
Right, but they'll lower interest rates to make it easier to borrow.
Yeah, so I guess they're basing this based on what did you get your mortgage at to begin with, right? 1.95%, and
Yeah, if it's like a 2,000
yeah,
interest rate. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, this one's an interesting one too. Number 9, Edmonton will implement automated permits. So they've already put this in place, I guess. So they are set to become Canada's first municipality to use AI for building permit approvals.
So we can lay off the city building department?
I have no idea. Basically, what they're saying is builders can apply for permits for detached and semi-detached homes online and receive approvals the same day.
Good.
So,
Good.
I mean, I think that's,
Saanich should try that out.
well, I was going to say that's spectacular. I mean, there's some Victoria Saanich horror stories that, we all know about. So,
And this is sort of a move from the province and the federal government where they want to electronify
yeah,
all of the process, where like they can have like, here's the goalpost. We're not going to move it once you've achieved your set instructions.
yeah. And here's what they're doing. What they're saying here for Edmonton is they're coming up with a creative solution to help handle. They've had a 12% increase in their population in the last 5 years. So this is how one of the things they're doing to try and spur the construction.
Make it come along quicker. Yep.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Yeah. So okay, number 10.
But all the boomers are not there to like build the houses anymore. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always going to take time.
Okay, number 10. Poilievre will eliminate GST for new homes. Obviously, that means they have to get elected first.
Yep.
And I think that's a great idea. They're talking about him if they get elected, they're going to eliminate the Liberals' Housing Accelerator Fund and the Canadian Housing
They're going
Infrastructure
to eliminate
Fund.
the accelerator fund?
Yeah, which was just taking money from somewhere else. And
It was supposed to give money to the municipalities that like buy on to whatever the program is, right?
Yeah,
To help them electronify
yeah.
the process. Yep.
So So that's it. That's their top 10 predictions. And one of the things I think we have said this from the beginning. I have from the very start, and I know you have too, but I've said from the start, when we start to see the interest rates go down, if we're talking about affordable housing, and this is a big part of it, and getting space for people, when we start to see the prices go down, pardon me, the interest rates go down, at some point you're going to start to see the prices rebound. And it's happening now. Certainly not like, in the craziness of 2020, 2021, housing prices were going up almost every day. It's not like that, not going to be like that, but I think we're starting to see the kind of, everybody's expecting a strong spring market, right?
I don't think affordable housing will ever come to places that are expensive.
Yeah. Well, pick one local. You're not going to see affordable housing in Oak Bay.
Unless it's paid for by the taxpayer.
Yeah,
Like Whistler or
Sure.
Kitsilano
Yeah,
or wherever,
but you're
right?
still not going to see affordable housing in Oak Bay. Because they're not going to pay for it.
No. It's going to be some sort of subsidized program through the province or whatever, right?
You're going to have to force it on them.
Yeah,
Even if the government pays for it, I'm saying, you're still going to have to force it on them.
Oh, and there's that could be another video. Yeah, there's some lawsuit stuff happening with the province. Was it for Vancouver? They're trying to force some affordable housing thing, and then it skipped over some human rights thing. Yeah, I don't know that much about it.
Yeah,
but
so
there's some way of trying to push through
Yeah.
affordable housing somewhere where people didn't want it.
Yeah.
And it was like how do I put this nicely? Like a higher risk segment of the population that would be put in with like mixed in with like affluent
Right.
area.
yeah,
So that's just a recipe
for trouble.
for crime.
Yeah,
Right, because
Yeah.
if you have a disparity of incomes.
yeah. And I watched something yesterday, maybe we do an episode on this one time, is they talked about the top 10 most dangerous cities in Canada.
Oh, in Canada, yep.
Yeah. And number 1 is in BC.
Nanaimo?
No, it's on the mainland. So, but you'll have to watch for that one. We'll do an episode on that. That'll be coming up at some point. But
Yeah, give us your thoughts,
Yeah,
right? Like, what are
yeah.
your predictions? Because right now, like, I always think like, if you're ready, it doesn't matter like all of these good news or bad news.
Yeah.
If you're ready, you got the right kind of job.
100%.
Your family planning, your life
Yeah.
planning. If you're ready to buy a house, don't wait for the market to. It's going to correct itself. Maybe 2020, 2021, when everybody's acting a little bit like out of character, maybe less logical thinking and
Yeah.
purchasing and paying a lot of money for houses, more than the asking price. Well, yeah, maybe that's not a very good time to buy. It was a great time to sell.
Yeah.
Of course. But when you're ready, like, yeah, don't wait for the market to do something.
Yeah, if the numbers work for you, now's the time, because the market is going to turn around more and more and more.
Yeah, as time goes on, right? It's all gonna. I don't think at the moment it's gonna run away from any like new buyers.
Yeah.
And consider locations that you possibly can afford if you're waiting for like, oh, let's wait for the prices to come down. Like, you know what? Even if we cut down the prices down to 50%,
Yeah.
like, you still need a down payment. You still need work experience. You still need work history and credit.
Yeah.
So, and pay off whatever debts you have to have. That's it, right?
Yep. Yep. All right. Well, put that in the comments. What are your thoughts about the upcoming year? Maybe you have a top 1 or 2 or whatever it is. Throw it in the comments. And thanks for joining us again. Give us a subscribe and a like, and we'll see you next time.